Would you rather the Yankees win the World Series or the Mariners win the American League? Free bet either way. Both are currently 9-1 at show and network sponsor BetMGM. Yanks World Series, Mariners American League, both 9-1. Would you rather, Mr. Glasser?
Mr. Lynn, if I had to make a choice, I think I'd rather take Seattle to win the AL pennant. Look, the Yankees haven't been in a World Series since 2009, let alone win it. I don't think that pitching staff is going to be as great as maybe what it looks on paper. Stroman had a great start to the season, then he kind of fizzled out like he normally does. Carlos Rodon, they're relying on him a lot. He's coming back from injury. Is he going to be successful? I just got a lot of questions after Garrett Cole. And then the lineup, look, Judge is awesome. Soto's awesome. They're both favorites to win the AL MVP for good reason. But you know Stanton's going to be sidelined for 2 months. You know Judge is going to go on the DL. They don't have much speed. They're not that great defensively. But because they're the Yankees, you got to pay a big tax on them. So for me, just from what I think has a better chance of happening and which price is better, it'd be Seattle just because of the way that they pitch. They have a great superstar in Julio Rodriguez. And I kind of like teams that have their year where they peak and then they set back a little bit like the Mariners did when they missed the postseason. Kind of everybody jumps off the bandwagon a little bit. That creates some value in the betting space. So if I had to choose, would you rather give me Seattle to win the AL over the Yankees winning the World Series?
Completely agree. I mean, the Yankees lineup is absolutely ridiculous. Like, they could score 8 to 9 runs, 10 runs a game. They legitimately can, especially if Juan Soto has a bounce back year, if Aaron Judge stays healthy all season long, but like Peach said, man, obviously Garrett Cole's the real deal. He's the favorite every single season to win AL Cy Young. But I just don't trust Marcus Stroman to stay healthy for an entire season. Hate to say it. He always has a good 2 to 3 months. Maybe this is the year he finally does stay healthy, but I would go with Seattle. Seattle's really damn good. And the problem for them last year is they're just in the best division in all of baseball, but they were really good in August. Julio Rodriguez is an absolute star. I like the addition of Jorge Polanco. They have J.P. Crawford. If Garver can stay healthy, I really like the rotation too. I like the Mariners. Problem is I do it with the Mariners every year. They were always like my side piece team. I grew up a Cub fan, but love the Mariners because of Griffey, because of A-Rod and Jay Buhner and Edgar Martinez and Randy Johnson. Those were always my favorite teams. Plus the jerseys are the dopest ever. But I'm going to stay away from the future so I don't jinx them this year. But I would go Seattle too. I just can't do it with the Yanks, man. I like Baltimore more in that division. I really do. I love the Corbin Burns pickup. I might play some Cy Young futures. I think he's going to have a bounce back year. They put so much pressure on him in Milwaukee. And remember how weird it was when they won the arbitration case against him? They pretty much blamed him for missing out on the postseason, 1 year removed from winning the Cy Young. And he was almost a 20-game winner that season as well. So I think he just wanted to be the hell out of there. So I'm really excited for the O's. I'd go with Seattle here. Tony Finau, 8-1 is the favorite. Anything for you this weekend? Are you taking it easy or anything on your card for the weekend?
Yeah, I got 2 top 40s and 2 outrights. So somewhat of a lighter weekend because who the heck is even playing in this tournament, right? Tony Finau versus the field. So basically this tournament favors the long ball, the big hitters, but it's not just off the tee driving. I don't think the accuracy totally matters, but I also love those long irons, those 5 irons, mix in a hybrid of 5-wood as well. 200 yards out for approach play is basically the wheelhouse. So it's not just driving the ball well, it's also really long approach play. So I have 2 top 40s, one on Joseph Bramlett at plus money. His average driving distance is over 300 yards, ranked 18th on tour. That's all I have to say. Finished T10th in this tournament last year. And then Parker Cootie, who is 100-1 outright, but top 40, he's plus 130, 8th in driving distance, 18th in approach over 200 yards. He went to Texas. I covered Oklahoma for 5 years back in my day and watched his game up in person, and this dude can hit it. So I like him to be able to finish in the top 40. And then my 2 outrights, Eric Van Rooyen at 33-1, and then also Mav McNeely at 50-1. Obviously, shop around, get the best of the number before we get this thing going in the morning. But we saw EVR win in Mexico in November in a course that was somewhat similar to this. And I think he's one of the best overall mid to long iron players, coming off a miscut at the Phoenix Open. But before that, 3 out of his last 4 events, he had a top 25 finish. And then Mav McNeely, longer shots, had a shoulder injury last year, so kind of took a dip in his game, but he's coming on strong right now. The Waste Management Phoenix Open, he had a 6th place finish, and I think he's has a better distance off the tee than what we give him credit for. So couple plays, nothing too crazy, but what do we do without football? So yeah, I like a nice sweat come Sundays from here on out in the PGA.
So I want to ask you about a couple golfers, but let's just go right there. So you said your guys in the 20 range. Who do you like as far as the outright market this weekend?
Taylor Pendrith is my guy to get it done over at BetMGM. Nice juicy number there. I like it a lot. Fantastic driver of the golf ball. Elite long irons. That's going to be the case and the key here this week in terms of playing at Vidanta. Long golf course. You got to have the driver. Got to have the long irons. Top 25 in this field in carry distance. Strokes gained off the tee on driver heavy courses with a low missed fairway penalty. That is the case here on this golf course, and all overall approach play. So Taylor Pendrith is a guy that I'm keying in on. T9 at the Farmers Insurance Open, and by the way, 5 top 15s in his last 7 starts. Really solid on these paspalum greens as well. These are not complex greens, guys. This is going to be a birdie fest here this week. You want high upside players, and I think Taylor Pendrith fits the bill here.
Cam, a golfer I'm going back and forth on this week is another fellow Cameron Champ, because he's missed all 4 cuts in all 4 of his starts. Like you said, this course favors longer hitters. Nobody really hits it farther than Cam Champ. That's what he's known for. 2 top 10 finishes here in the past. 55-1 for Cam Champ this week, even though he's been so bad this season. Do you think he could be worth a look?
I love me some Cam out there on the PGA Tour. Cam Young, Cam Champ, they are good players. Cam Davis as well. I've got the whole roster. Listen, I think Cam Champ is always live to win a PGA Tour event just based on talent alone. And this is his classic resume, right? I mean, missed cut, T23, then he wins, right? Then he pops off. So as far as course fit is concerned, this week makes a lot of sense for him. You mentioned it. He's got the course history at this tournament. So worth a sprinkle at 55-1. I wish the number was a little bit longer, but he does have that resume playing well here at this tournament. But I would not talk you out of it. Cam Champ is always a guy who can just kind of burst out of nowhere and win. I will never bet on Cam Champ to win a tournament just because you'll never see it coming. But if you want to, PJ, it could make some sense.
Talking with Cam Rogers right now. Talking some Mexico Open. How do you feel about Mav McNeely? Not so much the outright market, but like I saw a top 20 over at BetMGM plus 240. I believe he was 6th in Phoenix, 16th in ball striking. Obviously, he hasn't really been right the last couple years. He's had the injury, but how do you feel about him this weekend?
Ryan, are you looking at my Google Doc right now? Because I am on Maverick McNeely in the top 20 market, plus 240. You love that number, too. 3 straight made cuts, including a T6 in Phoenix, gaining 2.6 strokes on approach. Remember, we talk about ball striking being a more reliable stat than, say, putting or short game, which is more volatile. By the way, his best finish in Phoenix in 2.5 years on the PGA Tour. So that is very notable for McNeely coming back from that injury, as you described, much like who? Will Zalatoris a week ago, who I talked about on this show for a top 20 at some solid plus money. And Zalatoris nearly won the tournament. So I like McNeely a lot in the top 20 market for sure.